Good evening, trustees, staff, and members of the public who are joining our March 24, 2026 Public Learning, Equity, and Wellbeing Standing Committee meeting. Regrets have been received from Trustee Jenny Chen and Michael Chen. This meeting is called to order. The chair will acknowledge Trustee Butterworth to do the land acknowledgement. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. We affirm that we are all treaty people and acknowledge that the York Region District School Board is located on the lands of 2 treaties. These treaties have been signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the First Nations of the Williams Treaties, who are the Mississaugas of Alderville, Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Scugog Island, and the Chippewas of Beausoleil, Rama, and Georgina Island, who is our closest neighbor and partner in education. To honor this agreement, we will take up our responsibility to be respectful of their traditions, knowledge, and inherent rights as sovereign nations. We will respect the relationship with these lands and recognize that our connection to this land is through the continued relationship with these First Nations. And we acknowledge our shared responsibility to respect and care for the land and waters for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. So, approval of the agenda. Without objection, the agenda as presented shall be adopted. Is there any objections? Seeing and hearing none, without objection, the agenda is adopted. Declaration of a conflict of interest. At this time, the chair would ask any trustee who has a direct personal interest or direct or indirect pecuniary interest in any matter being discussed by the board during this meeting is to state the conflict and nature thereof. Seeing and hearing none, so we move to approval of the minutes. The minutes of the February 10, 2026 Learning, Equity, and Wellbeing Standing Committee meeting have been distributed to all trustees. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Seeing and hearing none, as there are no corrections, the minutes are approved as presented. So we move to the next agenda item, community delegation. The next item of the business is a community delegation. The chair has been informed that the delegate is unable to attend due to an emergency. Okay, so we move to next agenda item. Board reports. Dismantling anti-Black racism strategy DABRS information report. Before the committee is the Dismantle Anti-Black Racism Strategic DABRS information report. It's here for our information. The chair recognizes Coordinating Superintendent of Education, Equity, Inclusive School and Community Services, Research and Assessment Services, Loris Aga, Coordinating Superintendent of Education, Curriculum and Instructional Services and Continuing Education, Gillian Gibbon, and Coordinating Superintendent of Education, Student Services and Wellbeing, Benny House, to present this report. Thank you.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, I'll begin. So good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to share this update on the Dismantling Anti-Black Racism Strategy. This presentation provides an overview of key work undertaken between September 2025 and March 2026. The work you will see reflects the continued commitment to addressing systemic anti-Black racism across the system, with a focus on student achievement, well-being, and identity affirmation. It also reflects the collective efforts of staff, students, families, and community partners in moving this work forward in meaningful and measurable ways. Oops, thank you. Sorry, I'm just acclimatizing myself to the deck. This evening's presentation will focus on 4 key areas. First, we will outline the purpose of the report. Second, we will provide an overview of how the strategy continues to be implemented across the system. Third, we will highlight selected key initiatives and impact areas. Finally, we will open the space for questions and discussion. The intention is to provide both a clear update and deeper understanding of how this work is advancing in system priorities. This report provides trustees with an update and implementation of the DABRs over the past 6 months. It is designed to support understanding of how the board is actively addressing systemic anti-Black racism through targeted strategies and actions. Importantly, this work is not separated from our broader system priorities. It is intentionally aligned with the multi-year strategic plan and the district action plan, ensuring that equity and anti-racism, and specifically anti-Black racism, are embedded within all areas of system improvement, including student achievement, well-being, and inclusive learning environments. The strategy continues to be implemented through 6 focus of continuous improvement, or 6 foci groups. These groups represent key priorities, areas, and are central to how the work is operationalized across the system. A critical aspect of this implementation is the integration of community voice. Community members continue to inform and shape the direction of the work, ensuring that it remains responsive, grounded, and accountable to those most impacted. This structure also allows us to move from strategy to action in a coordinated and sustainable way. For this report, we have selected a number of highlights that represent the breadth and depth of the work occurring across the system. These include student-focused programs, family and community engagement initiatives, and professional learning opportunities. While this is not an exhaustive list, these examples illustrate how the strategy is being implemented in practice and the ways in which it is beginning to impact students and families. And I would say not beginning, but continuing that impact. Starting with student-focused programs, which remain a central priority of the strategy, the DABR's Credit Attainment Program supports Black students in earning new credits or recovering previously attempted credits, helping to ensure progress towards graduation. The first session began in January with 129 students participating. In addition, the Graduation Coaches for Black Students program provides culturally responsive, individualized support. These coaches work across all 33 schools and focus on academic achievement, confidence building, and connecting students with appropriate resources. Since September, 183 students have been referred to the program. Together, these programs reflect a targeted, data-informed approach to addressing systemic barriers and improving student outcomes. In addition to student-focused programs, the strategy places a strong emphasis on family and community engagement. These initiatives are critical in building trust, increasing transparency, and ensuring that families feel informed and supported in navigating the education system. The following slides will highlight several examples of how this engagement is being enacted. One of the key engagement initiatives is the monthly Understanding and Navigating the Education System sessions. These virtual sessions are designed specifically for families of Black students and aim to provide access to information, resources, and supports. Each session includes responsive to family-submitted questions, updates from graduation coaches, and presentations from board staff or community organizations. The consistent attendance and ongoing participation reflect a growing level of trust and engagement, as well as clear need for these types of spaces. And this slide here provides a bit of parent voice, and I'll pause a moment to let folks read it. This slide highlights direct feedback from a parent participant. Their words speak to the impact of these sessions in reducing stress and increasing confidence in navigating the school system. What is particularly important here is not only that the appreciation expressed, but the clear message that these spaces are necessary and valued. This reinforces the importance of continuing to prioritize family engagement as a key component of this work. Kwanzaa celebration. So in December, the board hosted its annual Kwanzaa celebration. This event brought together students, families, staff, and community members in a space that celebrated culture, identity, and community. Activities such as storytelling, drumming, baking, and arts and crafts were centered around the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. These types of events are important in fostering belonging, affirming identity, and creating opportunities for cultural connection within the school system. And here are some reflections from Student Voice from Kwanzaa. I'll give you a moment again. The student feedback shared here highlights the importance of representation and connection. Students spoke about the value of coming together, learning about their culture, and feeling a deeper sense of belonging. This reinforces the idea that identity-affirming spaces are not simply celebratory, but are critical to student well-being and engagement. In January, the board hosted Growing Together Planning for Success event for students in grades 6 to 10 and their families. The focus was increasing awareness of pathways, specifically programs and available supports. The event included both board programs and community agencies, creating a comprehensive and accessible experience for families. This reflects a proactive approach to ensuring that students and families are informed early and supported in making decisions about their educational pathway. And I believe it's here that, is it at this point that we play it? Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and I'll give you a moment to just take a look at this slide from some family and parent feedback. Initial feedback from parents was very positive, highlighting the accessibility and usefulness of the information shared. This type of feedback is important as it demonstrates that when information is presented in a clear, inclusive, and supportive way, families are better able to engage with and benefit from system opportunities. The next slide, and this is also a video, throughout February, Black History Month events were held across all areas of the board. These events The video reference here captures the energy and engagement of participants and highlights the importance of these events in affirming identity and fostering pride. And so at this point, we'll play the video.
We are at Middlefield Collegiate Institute celebrating the Black History Month event.
Black History Month is a special event where most Black people come together.
This was for the Black communities, Black parents and students, where you can get out, learn about different things.
We had 2 activities today. We had coding and ice cream making. And so in the ice cream, we just had to go around teaching people how to make ice cream in Ziploc bags with everyday items they would have around their house. And in coding, they had some scientists come in to teach people how to code.
Well, the coding. The coding was very new for me. I haven't done it before, and saw my son help me along with it. It was very useful.
My favorite activity was the ice cream because it taught you how to make ice cream. Like, besides from having to put the ingredients together, you had to like shake the bag itself, which was really fun.
The experiences I've gained from this event, first of all, the food was amazing. There was an information session from Boots of services that help Black youths, Black individuals that are in York Region, and I learned a lot of information that we're going to be passing on to our organization and other youths that are trying to get help.
I actually got to speak to some Black parents with their respective careers, and it's put some perspective about me and some future opportunities that I might approach myself, and just honestly networking and interacting with the community, as well as seeing a couple youths themselves visit our booth. Our booth specifically that we had here today was Black Youth York Region, and it is a nonprofit organization that honestly just supports youth, uplifts their Black excellence. We host a couple events for Black youth as well as the Black community, and just an opportunity for the community to come together and celebrate Black excellence.
Well, I would encourage parents of Black students to join programs like these. It's very informative, it's good to come together, and it's a community where we can learn to build together and explore.
It's honestly a great opportunity for them to connect with each other, bring each other up, and honestly just provide more opportunities for them to give things to Black youth and support them within our schools and our community.
It shines a light on Black people who have done so much for us and whose inventions or things they've done impact our everyday lives. And it shows younger kids, younger Black kids, that they too can be something great in life. To every kid out there, you are amazing, you are strong, and you can be whatever you want in life. Follow your dreams.
Thank you, and a special shout out to our communications department who in such a gracious manner captured that event. And just so you know, the mechanism of making the ice cream and so putting it all together was an invention by a Black person. So just wanted to let you know that it wasn't just about making ice cream, which is fun, of course, but ultimately that everyday inventions of things that we enjoy and the contributions of Black community towards that. So thank you. And with that, again, I'll give you a moment to read. We're practicing reading tonight. I apologize for that, but I think the quotes speak so amazingly for themselves, and it's important to hear the voices of those that we're impacting. So I'll give you a moment to reflect on those voices there. And so the feedback shared here reflects both emotional and educational impact of these events. Students express feelings of inspiration and possibilities, while parents emphasize the importance of community and collective learning. These voices reinforce the importance of continuing to create spaces that celebrate Black excellence and support identity development. And so this slide speaks to DABRA's steering committee continues to play a critical role in guiding this work. We've had 2 meetings this year, and there's a third actually scheduled for tomorrow. Key areas of focus have included establishing standard priorities informed by community voice, addressing elementary supports, exploring early years strategies. This reflects a growing emphasis on early intervention and system-wide alignment. And also for the first meeting, reviewed the October information report and established 3 standing items. And at the second meeting, our focus was solely on understanding supports in place for Black students in elementary schools. And we had an amazing presentation by Principal Heather Young from Curriculum and Instructional Services with literacy in early years as part of her portfolio, and sharing the direct contributions of how that work is supporting Black learners and increasing the awareness of all our staff of the Black identity. So her presentation was specifically on work related to dismantling the ABR in early years K to grade 3. And professional learning remains a key lever for change. At the January Guidance Heads meeting, all 33 schools were represented. The session focused on addressing disparities in post-secondary outcomes, credit accumulation, and program access for Black students. Data was reviewed, and specific actions were identified and integrated to the guidance counselor calendar. Importantly, participants also engaged in the DABR's traffic light tool, supporting more intentional and reflective practices within their roles. And here are some comments from guidance counselors who participated in that learning that day. Staff feedback indicates that learning both validated current practices and highlighted areas for broader system awareness. One key takeaway is the need to extend this learning beyond guidance staff to all educators. This speaks to the importance of scaling professional learning to ensure consistent understanding and implementation across the system. And so with that, that's just, as I said, a brief but not exhaustive list of the supports and learning that have gone into supporting the Dismantling Anti-Black Racism strategy from September to March. And at this time, if there are any questions, happy to take them.
Yeah, so thank you. The chair will recognize Trustee Butterworth to ask questions.
Thank you very much, Chair, and through you. First, accolades, and then a question or two. I want to say the family engagement night, I attended one of them, and it was absolutely fantastic. And everything that the video said about the food, the presentations, and the STEM activities, like making the ice cream, that was very cool. And the coding, I did both, and it was fabulous, and making those connections to Black inventors, Black scientists, Black, it was really good to know. So I was very impressed with how the evening went. It was amazing, and I spoke to many people, and everybody was really impressed. So kudos to the team who planned all of that. And secondly, so my questions, back to page, I think it's page 19 of the report on the credit attainment program. Could you expand a little bit on that? Is that like when you say credit, I just got to back to the page so I don't misread. Sorry, I'm just scrolling. Oh goodness, sorry, I'm sorry. So when we're helping students who need to earn new credits or to recover previously attempted credits, can you expand on what that looks like? And 129 students, is it one particular course, or is it, if you could expand on that, I'd be interested to hear. And then my second question, which I think you can answer, in terms of those monthly virtual meetings, you kind of addressed it. Are we seeing engagement increasing as we've been doing this? So those are my two questions. Thank you.
If you're okay, I'll start with the second. Yeah, so definitely for the March meeting, and because it happened, this report is only at the beginning, the collaboration with the various other departments in the board is what really makes this work powerful. So curriculum instructional services, we regularly have staff come from that department and present on things such as pathway planning, course selection. We regularly have various specialty programs come and share highlights to that. And again, we focus on what families are asking for. So at one point in time, Human Resources, Rosemary Cameron came because folks wanted to know, how do you get a job in York Region? And so we really addressed to the questions as to what it is that community wants. Our most recent meeting, which I'll report on later, March, where we talked about summer opportunities, various grant options, and again, it was a wide array of various departments within the board and community collaborations, was well attended by over, I don't want to exaggerate because research is on the line, but 50 plus parents. So 50 plus families. We had elders in the community who are part of organizations, and were shocked and astonished by the amount of families that we had, and that stayed from the beginning, and we ran out of time with the conversations. So it's about ensuring that we're being culturally responsive, and that we are ensuring that the topics we speak to are ones that parents are concerned about. So I believe it was January we had Kevin Cove, principal on assignment and leadership development, come and speak about AI. And we could probably have him back 2 or 3 more times to share that. So knowing that there's intentionality, knowing it's about being proactive, the families have really appreciated it. I don't, just to make sure that I'm not biased, research does also collect information from the parents to see if they're finding it of value, and the current data says that they are. So thank you for that. And then the credit attainment program. So one of the key performance indicators of moving forward with the Dismantling Anti-Black Racism strategy is to increase the credit attainment for Black students. And in the past, you would recall that I've brought data showing that Black students are not earning credits at the same rate as other racial identities. And so working with the grad coaches, we keenly look and then at students' achievements, so students who have been identified, and we look at their achievements to see where can we provide further support. And so again, working with other departments through continuing education, these students are afforded an opportunity where they are placed into a program with culturally responsive teachers and practices that then support them in either recovering credits that they were not successful in, or an opportunity to try a reach ahead or something. And so this is done in collaboration at times with grad coaches, supporting families and students, and of course, administrators in schools identifying the needs and how we can further support students. And so what's really helpful about that is that by giving that nudge, that extra level of encouragement, that attention, again, the partnership through continuing education, we are better situating ourselves that these students are not only achieving recovering credits that were not attained, but then excelling and putting themselves in a good perspective to successfully graduate.
Thank you. I'm really excited to hear about our students in our next report then. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. The chair will recognize Trustee Cohen to ask next question.
Thank you, Chair. I have about 4 questions. So I'll start, and if you want to cut me off, no problem. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, great. Thank you. Okay, Chair. The first one is Figure 1. It says with the DABRS. What does that stand for? I should ask.
In front of me, but based on what I heard you say, Dismantling Anti-Black Racism strategy.
It says Figure 1, you know, the circuit, Figure 1, DABRS. Is that dismantling? Okay, that's what it is. Okay, the question is, have we expanded tracking and increased student pathways? And which student pathways have we had a chance to expand? Thank you.
And I will respond because I know you have 3 other questions. So
right.
Yes, we have looked at the data, and the data showed that the pathway, Black students were more apt to a college pathway or leaving school early. And with the work, again, cross-departmental work that we're doing, we are absolutely increasing the university pathway. And it's not about promoting university as the only pathway, but we know that when we create, and actually coordinating superintendent House says this the best, but when we open up and students are able to attain university pathway courses, we know that all pathways become available, and that then increases their opportunities to go with whatever path they want, whether they want to go to skilled trades, whether they want to go to a college program. But aiming towards that university pathway, keeping all those options open, then allow our students to pretty much reach their full potential in any pathway they'd like to go.
Okay, so Lois, what made us think that they couldn't access those pathways? Like, what was blocking them?
And thank you for that very thoughtful question. I think at the root of that has to do with a lot of systemic anti-Black racism and all that entails. And so one of the things that we're doing is that we're increasing our racial literacy so that we realize that regardless of a student's racial identity, that we should ensure that all pathway options are open to them. So it's about, reassessing and relooking at some of our past practices that, while not intentional, have promoted systemic anti-Black racism. And once that awareness is there through racial literacy, making those changes accordingly. So the guidance counselors, for example, their work to revisit their practices and provide that support is an example of removing those systemic barriers.
Okay, thank you so much, Will. May I go on with the next question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so graduation coaches. So as I understand, I think I read that we only have 3 graduation coaches, and we have 33 secondary schools. So my question is, how many times does each student who is being referred to a graduation coach have the opportunity to connect with that coach? And second part B is, if tutoring is necessary for that child, do they do tutoring or arrange tutoring, or how does that work? Because we know some of our students cannot afford private tutoring. So that's the question. Thank you.
Again, thank you for that very thoughtful question. So as it relates to graduation coaches, definitely a limited resource, and because graduation coaches work with schools, so administration teams, they work with guidance, work with other consultants and so forth, we're able to work across the 33 schools. Definitely we want to triage and tier the support for students, so students who may be in more need of support will have more time with the graduation coaches versus students who may need a check-in. So again, just trying to provide the resources to the most vulnerable and who need it, and then again, working with the entire school team. And the second part of that question was about tutoring, working with various community organizations. Again, schools, guidance counselors have a breadth of resources. So while it would not be the graduation coach that is providing that tutoring, working within our school systems to provide that additional support through tutoring, whether it comes through mechanisms within the school. So for example, schools have peer tutors, schools have also community relations that they have that allow and support their tutoring, or again, working with community partners.
That's great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Chair, do you want me to go on or wait?
So I want to recognize Trustee Lin to.
Okay.
So.
Sure.
Okay, so Trustee Lin want to provide the opportunity to you first. So Trustee Cohen can ask the last question. Thank you.
Okay, so Trustee Cohen has 2 extra questions. So I'll ask, you want the short one now or the long one? All right, I'll just ask the very quick one. So scaffolded learning is mentioned in the notes, and I wonder if you could please explain what that actually means. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Cohen. You're testing my pedagogical knowledge of being a classroom teacher. And so, well, if you'll indulge me, scaffolding again, a teaching strategy in where we ensure that there's an opportunity for students to learn. So then, building upon a practice so that students can then learn in chunks and learning pieces that allow them to attain that information. It's about avoiding, just a lump sum of information at one time, but how do we build on it so that students are able to engage with the material and to learn? I'm going to look to my colleagues, and hopefully I said that right. It's been a while.
Thank you, and through you, Chair Liang, just to add on to that, scaffolding was really about also creating entry points for all students. So looking at what do students need to engage in the work. So if there was a problem that you were solving, what would you need to do to engage in that work? And so it might be providing for some students a few extra cues to help them enter into the problem because they don't just grab it and run with it. They need to think about it a little bit longer. It might be that it's providing some type of manipulatives or things to work with. So it's all the different ways we support. Chunking is a perfect example of another way that we would support students in giving them the information in pieces. But it's really about that scaffolding. It's like building scaffolding up the side of a building, and then once you get to the top and everything's good, you can remove that scaffolding away. So it's that concept of how do we give the supports we need when we need it, and then we can pull them away when they're no longer needed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And
I knew it was a great analogy, but I wasn't sure if I really got it. So thank you for the clarity from both of you.
And then if I would add to also from a student service lens, there's again, supporting students with identifications and again, making sure that they have the needs that and the manipulators or whatever it is that they need to support their learning. So again, it's that cross-departmental work on that and making sure students have what they need. So thank you for that question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So the chair will recognize Trustee Lin to ask the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Listening along, some of the question was answered earlier from my colleagues, specifically to the Deborah's credit attainment program. So thank you, Coordinating Superintendent Agor, answering that. I think this report is a very strong report that it comes in the right time, right after our very great Black History Month, to recognize the work from September to March 1st. I have a question. We may not have to answer at this meeting. We have this, Deborah, dismantling anti-Black racism strategies for 4 years plus already since 2021. Back to the graduation coaches for the Black student program, the purpose of the graduation coaches, I think, is to assist them to have the full credit attainment so that they could graduate successfully for the post-secondary pathway. If we can have some of the data for us to see our progress, to track our progress, I am happy to see the credit attainment program 129 and then 133 student refer to the Black graduation coaches for Black student, because the purpose for us having all this strong program, especially with all those family engagement, all those feedback that given, which is not shown on the report, they are beautiful feedback. I think the impact need to be displayed to the community that we are serving, that we continue to do this with a lot of effort, and I want to see a good outcome, and I'm happy that the community is appreciating that and keep up the very, very good work. I do have one question. While I'm listening, I'm thinking when reading the report. We have had doing this may be a curriculum question a little bit. We have had this strategy, and we have started de-streaming a few years ago on various courses. So my question is, how does the de-streaming play into the outcome of what we are doing in terms of serving our Black students? So I know that could be a loaded question, but I just want to have a high-level understanding. Are we in the right track of doing the de-streaming? Where do we measure the de-streaming in the context for supporting our underperformed, underserved students?
Thank you for that question. I'll turn that over to Jillian, Coordinating Superintendent Gibbons, to respond at first. Thank you.
Thank you for that question, and through you, Chair Liang. So the de-streaming, we've really done a focus on de-streaming, starting right from kindergarten, making sure that we are nothing along the way is starting to create different pathways for children. The grade 9, as you identified, they now come to grade 9, and grade 9 is one program for all students. We are definitely seeing high success rates in that math class in comparison to what we saw before. So we are seeing children who are coming out of the 1W ready for grade 10. At grade 10, they can choose their pathway. More of them are choosing a university pathway at the end of grade 10. But we continue to do the work, it's not over. And we do track that information. I don't have it at my fingertips to know exactly what the percentage is, but we are definitely seeing the success rate in the 1W is quite good, and it is giving a lot of opportunities for students to make that choice just a little bit later after they settle in. 1 more year it helps a lot in a maturity. We make lots of better decisions the more time we have to make them. So.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to hear that, and just want to continue the great work that for the student. Thank you very much, and thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I will go back to acknowledge Trustee Cohen to ask your next question.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Before I start the question, I just want to also thank the team for the wonderful work you do. The report is amazing. And the video was wonderful. It really highlighted the work that you do. So thanks also to the team that did the video. It was very helpful. This is a loaded question. So many of our parents are requesting the return of textbooks for math and for other things probably also. These are, I should say my parents, I'm not sure if it's come to all of the trustees, but I think I have seen multiple trustees on these emails. So can we briefly discuss this suggestion, particularly where children have learning challenges with technology, and some parents who would like to support their children with their homework also have difficulty navigating technology. So I know it's unrealistic to say that we're just going to throw away all of our wonderful technology. It's a wonderful asset, but is there any way that there's flexibility with textbooks for those particular students or for those parents? Thank you.
Thank you. So I think that's me again. So thank you, and through you, Chair Liang. Textbooks, I mean, there are textbooks that are used at secondary, but one of the things we have found over time, and a limited use in some of our elementaries at the 7 and 8, but what we have found over time is that a textbook is one mode. So as when you spoke about students who need different types of supports, that speaks, it really is only one mode of presentation, and we have found that teachers being able to develop materials that are responsive to the students that are in front of them, that they're able to bring in materials that might be more culturally relevant, that make more sense. We talked about the ice cream today from a Black inventor, and so the chance to bring that in, that might not be in the textbook when it was written. So they're very limited in what they offer, and what we have found is that the ability to bring in lots of different resources, lots of different modal learning, so we can see it in video, we can use tactile learning strategies, that is a better, stronger way to develop the learning and allow us to adjust to the students who are in front of us. So we have really embraced that. There are lots and lots and lots of materials out there that teachers can use, and they do send materials home with families. Some use Google Classrooms. Families certainly, if they have a concern, can reach out, but teachers often share all different ways that you can work with your child to support as well. There's resources on our website that as well support related to curriculum and different topics. So there's lots of different ways, really from the perspective of looking at all the students in front of us and how best they're going to learn. We have found that a textbook is limited from, it is only one way, and so we have found that the instruction is vastly improved when we have the ability to differentiate, bring in interesting things from different areas that we might not be able to with one resource.
Okay, thank you for that. Is anything written that we can share with, just about what you said? Is there anything written that would support what you just said so we can share that with our parents so they understand the benefits of technology?
Madam Chair.
So, yeah, okay. So the chair will recognize the director will answer the question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Trustee Cohen. Trustee Cohen, in respect to differentiated resources for instructional practices, we don't have a particular handout that we give parents, but in each customized case of every student in meeting their needs, we certainly can give that parent information around the resources available for their student, for their child's learning, and to be able to communicate what resources are available and what the teacher has available for their particular child. Those individual meetings often take place between the staff member and the family. In regard to a syllabus, when you're thinking of a syllabus around a post-secondary course, it's not quite like that, where it's just a particular list and a particular memo in regard to the resources available. And each and every assignment, as you can well imagine, can, as Coordinating Superintendent Gibbons has highlighted, can be a wealth of resources. It's not just one particular resource. And so I think it would be that discussion and that work with the particular family. If you have a particular family that is reaching out to you, we are happy to communicate with them. We can put them in touch with Coordinating Superintendent Gibbons, and she can take them through the work with staff in regard to supporting the school and the family if they're having an issue around resources. I hope that's helpful. But really what I'm sharing is there's not just one customized message, because the wealth of resources is so differentiated across our programs, and we are thrilled and proud of that. The exceptional work of our staff that they do to make sure that they're reaching each and every student and give each and every student the resources they need to achieve the learning goals that they're set out for each and every day. I hope that's helpful.
So, yes, it's very helpful. The only thing is it's often not one parent. It's a string of many parents that are on these emails. And I don't know, do we really want everybody to be sent to Jillian? I don't know. I can just see it now. You know what I mean? Like, what's the best way?
The answer is at the school immediately. Immediately, staff would want to speak with families. Any opportunity staff has to engage with families and talk about programming and the learning for their child is an awesome opportunity for us to engage with the parents and build that partnership. So I think going back to the school immediately is the first and best answer. When you get those requests, reach out to, I'll say, your area superintendent. They'll take it from there, and they'll link in Jillian. They'll link in the school, but they'll link in Jillian and team as needed. But the first and best answer often happens at the home school, where that relationship is there, and so folks can be connected.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for that, Director. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, seeing no any trustee on the speaking list, we move to the next agenda item. So, Mathematics Achievement Action Plan Progress Update. Before the committee is the Mathematics Achievement Action Plan Progress Update Plan report is here for our information. So the chair recognized Associate Director of Education, Schools, Programs, and Equitable Outcome, Neil Ganathan, Coordinating Superintendent Gillian Gibbon, and Superintendent of Education, Board Math Lead, Elizabeth Lau, to present this report. Thank you.
Thank you. And through you, Chair Liang. So good evening. I am here today with Elizabeth Lau, our Superintendent of Education and Board Math Lead. And we're here to share updates on our Mathematics Achievement Action Plan as part of our responsibilities under the Better Schools and Students Outcome Act.
Next slide. Oh, I can't see it from here. Sorry.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
perfect. Thank you. So the Mathematics Achievement Action Plan is in its third year, and it's a focus on improving outcomes in schools whose achievement on EQAO is in the bottom 20% of the province, as well as improving mathematics achievement across the province. So tonight's updates will include the system-wide and priority school actions and supports that we're taking to improve mathematics outcomes, the Term 1 and Semester 1 student achievement data in priority math schools, and the plans for the rest of the school year. At the end of the presentation, we will also take questions trustees may have. So as a reminder, the Mathematics Achievement Action Plan has 3 priority areas that boards are expected to focus and report on. And so there, priority 1 is the fidelity of the curriculum, or how true we stay to the curriculum, the way it has been written. Priority 2 is building content knowledge. So this is about deepening the understanding of mathematics content or topics. And priority 3 is knowing the learner. So understanding the learning needs of our students in the classroom so that we can improve instruction. So the Ministry of Education also supports boards in their work through the provision of board leads, with a focus of helping improve math outcomes for students, and they're responsible for curriculum implementation and standardized training, and they lead our board-wide actions to meet targets. We also have mathematics facilitators, and these are teachers who are in our priority schools, and they provide direct support in classrooms. We also have the provision of digital tools to support student learning. The digital tool we use is Math Up Classroom and Math Up Student. The Ministry of Education also provides 6 virtual professional learning sessions, and they give us individualized feedback on our plan and our progress on meeting our key performance indicators. So tonight we're going to be sharing the second of 3 reports that we do each year and submit to the ministry, and the information shared tonight will also be included in our next ministry submission. So at this point, I would like to invite Elizabeth Lau to share our progress with the Math Achievement Action Plan.
Thank you, Coordinating Superintendent Gibbons. These are the 16 priority schools for 2025-2026. Schools were identified by the Ministry of Education based on their EQAO scores with additional impact from YRDSB. This year's priority schools remain unchanged from the previous year. These are the priority actions for grade 3 and 6 in our priority math schools. Priority Action 1, Fidelity of the Curriculum. Connect instruction and assessment to curriculum expectations and long-term essential mathematical understandings using developmental continuums. Priority Action 2, Building Content Knowledge. Model a positive and curious learning stance with mathematics to create an environment where students are excited to learn mathematics and develop into confident math learners. For example, regularly using think-alouds, making the problem-solving process explicit, integrating math talk prompts and conversations, co-solving mathematics problems and puzzles with students. And Priority Action 3, Knowing the Learner. Plan, teach, and assess learning in culturally responsive and relevant ways that motivate students to take ownership of their learning of and progress in mathematics. These are the priority actions for grade 9. While Priority Action 2 is the same as grades 3 and 6, Priority Actions 1 and 3 differ. Priority Action 1 for grade 9 is to directly connect long-range plans, course outlines, lesson plans, and reporting to current curriculum expectations. For example, educators consult with the curriculum and resources websites regularly to ensure alignment. And Priority Action 3 is to determine key content areas informed by EQAO data, including strands and skills reports, to determine where students may be struggling most and if there are gaps between classroom and EQAO achievement. To support the implementation of these 3 priorities, we have undertaken several targeted interventions across the entire board, including system-level professional learning opportunities. 12 elementary math networks have taken place this year, organized by family of schools. During this full day of professional learning, each elementary school was able to have an administrator and up to 2 teachers attend. School teams engaged in learning that was structured around high-yield instructional math strategies and YRDSB's comprehensive math program. The learning focused on deepening understanding of division and ongoing equitable assessment practices. As with all math learning, YRDSB's comprehensive math program was integrated, which focuses on the learner, learning, and environment in the math classroom. When educators create strong and responsive math learning environments, we know who our learners are and are able to identify students who may have some math anxiety and support them in increasing their math confidence. Schools were also provided with professional resources that were directly connected to the day's learning and can be used to support ongoing math learning in their buildings. In addition to elementary math networks, a secondary math network has also taken place, where school teams were also invited to participate in this full-day learning opportunity. The focus was on the math learning environment, algebraic reasoning, and equitable assessment practices. Additionally, we are supporting principals and vice principals with leading math in their schools through professional learning opportunities. Equitable assessment and math sessions have also been provided to teachers. These sessions focus on the importance of improving student achievement and well-being through assessment approaches that are responsive, culturally relevant, grounded in equity, and make student thinking visible and value multiple ways of knowing. We are currently piloting Math Up Leadership with 13 elementary principals that support math improvement cycles in schools. Across YRDSB, the math team also supports individual schools with school-based professional learning and in-classroom supports when requested. This fall, the math team introduced the Visual Continuum of Math curriculum. These resources provide a visual map of the curriculum expectations and the scope and sequence of key concepts in the Ontario math curriculum from kindergarten to grade 9. It deepens understanding of the fidelity of the curriculum to support planning of instruction and assessment that is directly connected to the curriculum. Key concepts are provided in the strands of number, spatial sense, data, algebra, and financial literacy. During elementary math networks, as a focus was building understanding division, the visual continuum for number, multiplying, dividing was introduced and used, which is what you can see on the screen right now. All visual continuums are available on YRDSB's internal website for staff to access. Across the system, as part of Priority Action 3, Knowing the Learner, we continue to support all students, including multilingual language learners, MLLs, and students with special education needs by working with staff and modeling strategies in our professional learning that is aimed at improving math achievement through universal design and instruction and equitable assessment practices. We continue to collaborate and partner with other board departments to support students with individual education plans and leverage a variety of resources at learning sessions. These resources include the updated Factors Influencing Language and Learning to support multilingual language learners and continued work using Understanding How Processing Affects Learning. Educators are taking a proactive approach to tailoring instruction assessment practices to effectively support diverse learners. Within our priority math schools, math consultants continue to support math facilitators and priority school leadership teams on a bi-weekly basis. Together, they co-plan and co-facilitate school-based professional learning for staff meetings and other professional learning opportunities that includes building math content knowledge, the progression of mathematical concepts across grades, and equitable assessment practices. Consultants and school-based math facilitators model, co-plan, and co-teach lessons with teachers. When working together in classrooms, they plan using universal design for learning principles in instruction and assessment to ensure learning is developmentally appropriate and supports all learning needs. Math facilitators also engage in professional learning provided by the Ministry of Education and the math consultant team. As part of the Math Achievement Action Plan, we have purchased digital tools. Math Up Classroom is an educator learning resource for teachers that aligns with the math curriculum and supports developing students' critical and creative thinking skills through intentional instruction and assessment. Math Up Classroom anchors student learning and comprehension and includes problem solving and concept and skill development. Math Up Classroom is intended to be used alongside Math Up Student. It allows teachers to provide a variety of student activities based on the learning needs that supplement, reinforce, and consolidate math learning that can be completed online or on paper. Unlike other digital tools which are gamified in our digital forms of textbooks or workbooks, Math Up builds math content learning, differentiates supports for learners, and provides scaffolded assessment opportunities that are built into the tool. YRDSB has currently purchased over 4,200 perpetual licenses that will remain with our school board as long as the tool exists for teachers from kindergarten to grade 9, and it is also provided in French to support French immersion classes. From September until the end of February, there have been over 871,000 teacher visits to Math Classroom. This is a year-over-year growth of 4.7%, with a 53% growth in kindergarten and 37% growth in grade 1. We have also over 6,500 students actively using Math Up Student. On the next few slides, you will see the report card data from our 16 priority schools. This table shows report card data for students currently enrolled in grade 3 and 6 in our priority math schools at the end of term 1. Report card 1 is the total number of students at each level of achievement at the end of term 1, which is a total of 277 students in grade 3 and 478 in grade 6.
Report card 1 with IEP box checked indicates the number of students who have a modified math program, which is a reduction in the number of expectations or at a different grade level, and their achievement at the end of term 1. These numbers are also included in the total number for each grade. An I indicates that there was insufficient evidence available to determine a letter grade. Attendance rate indicates the number of students who had an attendance rate of 90% or greater. Math attitude and confidence indicates the number of students who responded to the question, I am good at math. 3 options were given to students, including yes, I agree, I am not sure, and no, I do not agree. The number indicates the number of students at the end of term 1 who said yes, I agree. This table shows semester 1 data for students who were enrolled in grade 9 math in the secondary priority school and is similar to the grade 3 and 6 data shown previously. Please note that semester 1 data does not include students who are currently enrolled in math in semester 2. Students were asked to respond to the question, I am good at math, with options being strongly agree, somewhat agree, neither agree nor disagree, somewhat disagree, and disagree. The table shows the number of students who indicated that they strongly or somewhat agree with that statement. As we look ahead to the remainder of the school year, we will continue to build on the work we have been doing. I will now turn it back over to Coordinating Superintendent Gibbons to wrap up our presentation.
Thank you. So our Math Achievement Action Plan is submitted to the ministry 3 times a year, starting on December 19th, when we give our initial baseline data to the ministry, March 27th, which is will include all of the information that you have seen today, so our progress to date, and then again in on July 17th, once we receive the final report card data, it will be submitted again, and we will come back, I believe it's Lucy in June, or very end of May, to share all of the work we've been doing up to that point. Then we add the report card data and submit that in July. So at this point, I think we are open to any questions trustees may have.
Yeah, thank you for the amazing report. So the chair will recognize Trustee Butterworth to ask question.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I'm going to sound like my colleague, Trustee Cohen. I have 3 questions, but I will break them up. And thank you first for the great report. So I'll start, I've got them numbered here. So I'm looking at the Math Up online tool, and obviously we have tons of teachers using it. But 6,500 kids out of 125,000 students, I realize it's K to 9, so whatever that number is. But I'm just curious, how can we increase our student engagement with this tool, considering we've invested lots of money in it? I'm curious on your thoughts on why maybe the number isn't as high, or maybe it is high in terms of what, I'm not thinking about all of the, pieces maybe connected to that. So that's my first question. My second question is, do we have staff, and I think I know the answer to this, but in literacy, how we have like our literacy coaches and stuff, and we're working on those who require intensive support, and we hear about those teachers who are working specifically with kids in their literacy to try to get them, their reading to grade level. Do we have staff, when we look at our math coaches and our math, support staff, or like supporting teachers, do they ever take small groups out like we do with struggling readers and work with struggling math students? So I'm going to leave it there because I know I've already taken like 2 minutes, and if I need to come back, I'll ask my second question because it's, I think, much longer.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll start with that.
Thank you for the questions, Trustee Butterworth, and through you, Chair Liang. Your first question with regards to the number of students with using Math Up Student. So Math Up Student is not a standalone for Math Up Classroom, so we just can't have students log in. It is designed to go hand in hand with Math Up Classroom so that a teacher then can personalize what is assigned to students. So 6,500, considering the number of students we have in the system, isn't a huge number. These are students who are using it regularly, and that has been increasing since last year. Some of the challenges or some of the lower numbers, for some of our younger students, some of that take-home work looks a little bit different. So Math Up Student for kindergarten grade 1 per se is not designed to have some of the follow-up worksheets in the same way that some of the older grades do. And that content keeps on changing and evolving. We have also noticed that we should have higher numbers with student engagement. So interestingly enough, yesterday we had a rep for Math Up student come and speak to our math consultant team about other ways to engage our staff. So when we are out in schools, we can engage more of the teachers that we're working with in using Math Up Student. And over the next few months, we'll be offering sessions for administrators. We had some last year on how to use Math Up Classroom and Math Up Student. And so some of that is then bringing it again to the attention of administrators. In your schools, you have access to might be ways that we can encourage increased use in that. So we have also noticed that the uptake on Math Up Student isn't where we want it to be at this time yet. The second question with regards to the support staff within our schools. So we have our CRPLTs that support the literacy, as you said. We've strategically put our math facilitators in schools. They're in-school staff. And so it's not a consultant coming out once every couple of weeks to support. And that model was there to build capacity. So depending on the school, and we share some examples of what some of the math facilitators do. Sometimes they do go in and pull small groups of students. So it really varies school to school, depending on what the needs are within that classroom. So when they're in a grade 3 classroom, they may be pulling out smaller students. At other times, they might be working co-teaching, co-planning with the teacher. And the same for grade 6. So it really is sometimes dependent on the individual classroom and the teacher and what the needs might be and how the math facilitator can support the needs in the classroom.
That's awesome. Sorry, did you say yes? Okay, thank you. So that's great. I just know how the feedback that I hear and how well it's working, say, in literacy, it'd be, maybe down the road. I know it's all funding. I know that's the bottom line on that. But, I think that's maybe something we could look at too, because it does really benefit the children, where those who, let's say they're not understanding division or whatever, that group, gets the extra support. So just my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. The chair recognizes Trustee Cohen to ask questions.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just one question. I was wondering about licenses. It appears that we buy many, many, many licenses. Could you possibly explain what these licenses are for, what they include? Not individually, of course, because you've got thousands, but just to fill us in a little bit about licenses. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Trustee Cohen, and through you, Chair Liang. There are multiple digital tools that were available for us to purchase. And one of the reasons why YRDSB chose Math Up Classroom is it is a license. So the difference between some of the other digital tools is they are subscriptions. And that means that every year we have to repurchase the subscription. And some of the other digital tools and some of these subscriptions have add-ons as well. So with the license, we have purchased sufficient licenses for all of our kindergarten to grade 9 teachers in English, and we also have the French license. So the difference then is we have these licenses until Math Up no longer exists, so that, say, for example, and we are very mindful of the budget that we have available to us, and if for whatever reason we are unable to have additional funds for digital tools, our teachers will still have access and our students will still have access to the Math Up Classroom suite and Math Up Student to continue to use moving into the future.
Great, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. So the chair recognized the second time for Trustee Butterworth to ask questions.
Thank you very much. So I'm looking at the chart on page 30, the last one, the last part of your presentation. So a couple of things. So for those who did not achieve level 3 or better on EQAO, and I saw the EQAO results for our priority schools, and not what we hoped for, but anyway, does the report card data support this? And I'm going to say I already know the answer because you're showing me what the report card data says. We know the EQAO is a snapshot, but what are we doing in terms of, like, I know it's one piece, and I'm publicly say I'm not a big supporter of it. It's one piece, and when you look at the numbers, we have, you know, about 73% of our grade 3s, according to the report card data, are achieving levels 3 and 4. 78% of our grade 6, if I did the math right, are doing achieving level 3 and 4. Grade 9's not so great. You know, 19 out of 64, about 30% are in 3 and 4. And then you look at the whole attendance piece, it's all kind of connected. So how can we, going forward, help our EQAO scores reflect our report card data? And I know that's really hard, but they don't align. And explaining that to our families and even to us, you know, there's such a disconnect. So what do you think on this?
Thank you for the question, Trustee Bedworth. Through you, Chair Liang. We have seen a discrepancy between EQA results and report card data, specifically that our report card data is higher than our EQAO data. And so part of that is the format of the assessment. So when students are writing EQAO, they are in front of their computers and they are clicking on different things to select the work. In our classrooms, that's not how we assess our work day to day. And so students have different and multiple opportunities to show how they've understood and how they're able to apply the learning in different ways. And so that is some of the discrepancy. We're working on that. So part of that is, and specifically in our grade 9, so one of our third priority action was a focus based on EQAO data. And we know that geometry and algebra are areas of need for our grade 9s. And so that has been specific math learning within our secondary schools. We're pulling our math teams together, and when our consultant is working in our priority math school. So part of that is really supporting our students in when they are writing the EQAO online. It is a different format. So part of them is helping our students get accustomed to that type of format, which is different than what we do day to day, and the types of questions supporting them in that work. And so we continue to work on that, but that we have noticed that discrepancy. We are trying to close that, but we do recognize that although our students aren't achieving as many at level 3 and 4 on EQAO, they are doing so in the classroom on the day-to-day and at the end of term 1 and term 1 report cards. So we do continue to work on that. Thank you. And I'm going to just pass that over to Coordinating Superintendent Gibbons as well.
Thank you for that. And Superintendent Lau really covered, the key things. That is a one data point in the middle of. But one of the other things that EQAO used to do was provide individualized reports, which gave us very good indications of where students had not, EQAO is a very, very well-researched test, right? It really actually is an incredibly well-researched test. And so what you could see when groups of students had been sort of misdirected by one of the answers, right? In a multiple choice, they might say a lot picked B, and you'd be like, haha, as a teacher, this is what I need to do. I need to work on that. That disappeared for a little while. It is now back. And so this is the first year that we've received the IIRs back again. And so that, I think, will also help with what you're talking about, is we can now go back to some of that work we did before, where we were able to say, I've noticed that a number of my students in front of me, for some reason, got misdirected in this particular way, and now I can adjust my teaching for the class I have now to make sure that I address that overtly, because that misdirect is something that I may not have realized they didn't understand, but now see when they did these questions. So we're also looking at that, which is kind of, it had to go away and is now just recently come back, because that's a new piece of data that they've returned back based on feedback.
Okay, that's good to know, because at least then we can start seeing where some gaps are. And then I guess my final thing is we don't teach like EQAO measures. We don't, and yet it's still, and this is for the global, the people out there, yet we still use it. So we need to find some balance. I think that's important. And my last thing, I love the visual curriculum, and I will end it there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So the chair will recognize Trustee Lin to ask questions.
Thank you, Chair. I'll reverse my question order. I'll ask my number 2 question first to follow through my colleague's question regarding the EQAO. I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, many Lucy ago, we have had the provincial priority that's requesting us as a school, district school board to display our yearly outcome. I was just browsing again. Is it true that it is directing us to the EQAO website and the public just access to that part of it? Because I was hearing earlier that we have to submit the 3 times the math achievement plan to the ministry. Do we have to submit the our outcome as well as a district school board? And does parent within the school board can easily access to the EQAO data specific to them within our website, or it will direct them to the EQAO website? That's my question.
So I will jump in because I think half is lives in
Sorry.
Superintendent Lau and half lives with me. The on the website, it directs to EQAO. EQAO website now is designed where you can just go in and pick a school, and so they've made it easier for boards. It used to be, I think you would have seen that it used to be posted on school websites. We just have the link because of the way they've designed their website. But the first part of your question, I think, was related where we had shared the data. We do have an achievement plan, right? A system achievement plan that we have to give a student achievement plan that we have to submit. We submit it to the ministry with a lot of detail in it, and we put a summary on our website. Every board must have that, and it does include EQAO. I think that's what you're talking about. It had attendance data. It also had pathway data in there, well-being data. So every board must report on it, and we update it once a year on the student achievement plan. So you can certainly search that for any board, but I think that's what you were sort of referencing when we presented. The math achievement plan is not posted publicly,
Yes.
other than when it's shared in spaces like this. So they are a little bit different, but certainly overlap.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Yes. What I meant, Chair, is definitely the student achievement plan, not pursuant just particularly to the math achievement plan. Going back to my second question, which was my original first question, is when we evaluate the math priority schools, 25, 26, and then with 26, 27, other than I would say the outcome data, is there any other metrics that we are using to support those math priority schools? I just like to know, do we change how often or how frequent do we monitor the needs of math priority schools within our systems?
Thank you for the question, Trustee London, through you, Chair Liang. Our math priority schools are the same as last year, and that was a request from the Ministry of Education, and part of that was to continue to build capacity within our schools. So the very first year of the Math Achievement Action Plan, we were able to have a little more input and to shuffle and to move around some of the schools. But since then, we have been asked to keep consistent with the same number of schools. But that doesn't mean that our work doesn't just happen in our math priority schools. So our math team work with other principals, other superintendents, and teachers in other buildings in professional learning. But our math priority school list stays. It was a request from the ministry to continue build capacity and to kind of watch the growth and changes within those schools.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So the chair recognizes Trustee Cohen to ask the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. It was brought to our attention, I think by Jillian, that some students do not do well writing this test using technology. So I guess my question is, are there any accommodations for children who do find they get anxious writing the test on technology? Or part two would be, are there practice tests we can give them using technology so that they get more comfortable with the actual test? Thank you.
Sorry, certainly I can jump in on that one. The test itself is now designed online, and the supports exist online. There is the ability to have accommodations which could include a paper written test if a student really needed that. It would be rare versus a kind of, I would prefer, and anxiety in and of itself without supporting documentation. Like, you would need some type of supporting documentation to get it that way. Having said that, the nice thing about the online is different writing environment, but the online also allows for accommodations that we could never provide before. So there are some ability to provide language supports within that context. As well, the grade 9 is now a bit of a differentiated test in that how you do on the first one determines the way the question's worded on the second one. So it differentiates, it's adaptive in an effort to try and help support students to demonstrate what they know about the curriculum. You know, like they're not getting bogged down by the arithmetic, which isn't, they're actually able to show what they know about the curriculum, particularly in grade 9. So that, you get, there's pluses and minuses to every forum we do. As to the practice tests, there are some on EQAO. You can take a practice test that looks exactly like the one that you would see with released questions, so questions they've used in the past that they're no longer using.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you. So that's very good report. And trustees, any other trustee have questions? Seeing and hearing none. So thank you so much. Date of the next meeting. The next Learning Equity Wellbeing Standing Committee meeting is on April 22, 2026. Adjournment. As there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.